Welcome, Jackie. Welcome back to Rick Helps Real Estate Show. How are you today?
I'm great, Rick. How you doing?
Good to bring you back. I wanted to touch on a subject where I'm seeing headlines, and that is it over for sellers now in this market? And so you have to say, well, depends, right?
Absolutely. It's very micro market right now.
I want to do kind of a fly over 30,000 foot view of what we're seeing in this market. And then you've got some details on just some listings that you have that you
Sure.
can add some stuff to. And the first thing that I look at, because look, it's slowing down. It's no doubt it, but it's interesting. If I look at my 7 day moving average here, it's slowing down, but then again, it's not. We're just stuck in slow mode. The bottom line is number of contracts. It's just flatlined.
Hmm.
So, and the number of new listings only had one temporary little dip up here, and it's flatlined. And we're sitting there at 63%. So it's enough to start putting some pricing pressure on homes, and we'll take a look and see if people are actually doing it. But the one true number here is the listing success rate, which is simply you listed it, did it sell? And you can see that number is going down, especially the past 3-4 weeks here. It's all interest rate driven,
Hmm.
but it's not down here. Uh, and we've been there before. Remember, this is where we started at the beginning of the year after coming down so bad in 2022. We had a pretty respectable year when it comes to listing success rate, getting up to
Oh, yeah.
84%. And now we're at 76. 76 is not bad. So it's not doom and gloom. If you're a seller out there, don't panic. Don't panic. I don't think you will after you see some of this stuff. Number of price changes. Yes, these are price reductions. I've filtered it out to where it's just price cuts, and they've gone up. Um, and I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think they've gone up because a lot of sellers were really looking at the price that their neighbor got down the street and said, well, I can get
A-
more than that.
Absolutely. And our spring market, so I think it surprised all of us. It surprised me even. We really took off and we had a hot spring market, even with 7% interest rates. And so during that time, I know the listings that we had, we were still seeing multiple offers on a lot of our listings. And, some of the outskirt areas like Maricopa, Goodyear, Casa Grande, Buckeye, those areas were actually doing well during the spring market, and they've completely shifted now. They're back into buyer markets, but I think what people are doing and why we're seeing a lot of, price reductions is because they're looking at the comps from 6 months ago, and you can't do that. You've got to look at what's active, current, what's under contract, and what's pending. Because even the appraisers are doing that, and I'm starting to see appraisers reflect a declining market on appraisals in the last month.
Are they looking at the comps and then they're padding it as well?
Yes. Well, they're padding it, but they're looking at the comps. And because we were getting multiple offers, they were selling over value. So
Yeah.
they weren't necessarily the true value, just like what we had happen in 21 and 22. A house could be listed at 500, it'd sell for 575 because it had multiple offers, but that didn't mean that the house was worth 575 if all the other comps still justified that $500,000 price point.
All right. Good point. Yeah. Because I'm saying, oh, at least the sky went down 25,000. I'm thinking, well, he kind of marked it
No.
30,000 too high to begin with.
Right. Right.
Uh, I saw an example on that on rent the other day where the headline was that you had a 15% price reduction in rent, and therefore all investors are going to start dumping their rentals and the
I
rental
saw
market is
that.
going to crash. And when you look at it and you look at the neighborhood, it's like, well, he started out too hot.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
that is not, one house is not an indication. So knock it off.
I
The
am seeing a little bit, not to interrupt you, Rick, though, but I am seeing a little bit of pressure on rents on the outskirts. For instance, I've got another listing coming up in North Peoria. It's a brand new community built 22 and 23. It's still continuing right now. And I have a relocation client that we're going to be listing his house. He started his asking price out for rent at 3,500. And there were a few that had actually rented at that price point. But what had happened was there wasn't as many homes yet. And so there were some investors that bought homes in there. and those homes have now come on the market. So his rent, asking rent went from 3,500 to 2,750, and so I am seeing that on parts of the outskirts, but it's not happening in the interior, you know, communities just around Phoenix.
Yeah, even when I looked at a report, I think it was with BAM this morning, I was looking at it and saying that nationally how rent prices are coming down. But then you
Mm-hmm.
look at the devil in details and they've come down $29.
Yeah, right. And it's really only the outskirt ones I'm seeing that happen with in new build areas where investors bought new builds.
Seeing this month supply starting to creep up.
Mm-hmm.
We're still below 3 months supply. Normal, if we can use that word anymore, is off this chart. It's
Yeah.
4 to 6 months. So if we go back to pre um, cough here, let's see if I can select that. It won't let me select the other years for some reason. But um, gosh, we haven't been at 4 months supply forever. It seems like this is our Cromford Demand Index. Now it's going to put tremendous pressure on sellers when these lines cross,
Mm-hmm.
like they did right here. So they're trying to, but we're not there yet. So that's so you've still got time. I'm looking here at the average square foot of monthly sales. Somebody asked me on my show the other day and said, "Do you think the average price has actually come down because we're selling smaller homes?" And it doesn't look like it. It's pretty much the same. We did sell some bigger ones back here in October, but this is the average price per square foot. And this is let's see, this is average square foot, not price. So this is 2,000 square feet. Today it's 1948. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a bathroom. Now the hot sheet slides, Jack, I don't know if you saw this one. This is
No.
drivers of housing affordability according to the Federal Reserve Bank. In other words, housing's not affordable. What's doing it? Well, it's kind of, well, duh. It's a combination of house prices and interest rates. And you can see that they call this the mortgage rate component. Look at that, the impact on
Wow.
affordability mortgage rates have had. Now, this color right here is the house price component. So it's a combination between the house prices and the mortgages being much higher that are knocking people out. Probably the only glimmer of hope in this chart is the income component is starting to go that way, especially the last quarter.
Yeah.
People are getting raises. So kind of interesting to look at that. Now you've got a bunch of listings. Tell me what's happening with these.
Well, so starting with the top one, 79th Avenue, that's a little manufactured home in a park. We actually had that one listed for 77,000, and it we had multiple offers come in. It went under contract, uh, and we unfortunately the buyer was not able to qualify. The appraisal actually, because originally we had that listed at 77, and I felt like the comps were right on. But because of that price point, you're getting multiple offers. So the appraisal came in at 81.5. So we just put that one back on the market because the buyer couldn't qualify at 80. The next one is the land, 235. So that is 4 acres out in Tonopah. It's ready to build on. It has the pad there. It's got the well in. The electric is to the property line. It's fully fenced. It's a nice elevated lot. I can't give that thing away. The price is correct, but what I'm noticing is that vacant land seems to have stalled, and I think that has a lot to do with typically it's a custom builder that comes in and does those. They're nervous. They still have supply chain issues. And because of the interest rates and the volatility in the market, I feel like a lot of my land clients have put things on hold because they don't know where the market's going to go.
Yeah, I have a friend of a family member up in, or a classmate, and she called me and said that she wanted me to look into some land that her mother and father owned, and it's way out, like 175th and I-10 south
Mm-hmm.
of there, and it was and they're all parcel off in 1 acre lots.
Sure.
Every one of them are for sale for the same price, 24,900. The
Right.
only one that sold for 13,000. So I told her, I go, this is what you got. I mean, it's they're all asking 24.9, and none of them are
Hmm.
selling. The only one that's sold is sold for half price. So it's just, while things are growing far and farther west, it hasn't hit that part of town yet. So it's just, they're all parceled out and ready
Yeah.
to go. Now this one is in Sun City.
Sun
That's kind of its
City.
own different economy, isn't it?
It is. And honestly, that thing should have sold. But here's the thing. This has a additional room that was built off to the side that is unfinished. It also has some buckling in the floors. And unfortunately, this one's actually a pre foreclosure. They had a reverse mortgage on it and they're facing foreclosure here coming up in January. So we just relisted this and reduced the price on it. See where that white door is? So that goes into a bonus room that's unfinished. And
Oh,
with
okay.
Sun City, when anybody, they don't want to do anything. If that thing was in, there's the room. The rest of the house is cute. But nobody wants to come in and do anything with that. And so Sun City, if it's priced right, which it's priced right, the rest of the house is adorable. But there is some buckling in a floor from a prior leak too. So it needs flooring and that room finished. If that room wasn't there, this house would have been sold the first weekend. Because there's still a lot of cash buyers in Sun City, but they don't want to come in and have to do anything.
No, no, they don't.
Hmm.
They don't. They want to move in.
Yep,
Now
absolutely.
this one's down in South Phoenix, correct?
Yep. Yep. That's
It's
a
like a
newer
townhome.
area. Yep. It's a townhome. That's a new listing. Surprisingly, we're not getting a ton of activity on it. We just put that on the market. And so we'll see what happens with it.
Townhomes have been moving. They're starting to slow down a little bit. I've noticed that.
Mm.
You got this one under contract.
Yep.
It's
That
in
so I got multiple offers and sold that the first weekend. It's a single wide manufactured home that has a built on. And absolutely, if you look at the interior photos, it's adorable. So this was the guy that had an Airbnb. He bought it in 2022. He bought it for 255 and he just sold it for 315. And he had a 70 to 80% occupancy on that. He made $40,000 from his Airbnb in the 1 year that he had it, was which is great for a $255,000 investment. However, he just wants to move all his investments to one state. He doesn't want them spread out all over the place.
Makes sense. Now this one's clear
But
down
that
in
area is
Maricopa.
hot.
Now this
Yes,
is Maricopa.
Maricopa.
Maricopa's been struggling.
It
Um,
is struggling. So the first week that we were on the market, we actually got two offers. And this is a situation where sellers really need to listen to their agents. So we got two offers on this. Both of them had concessions. The offers were about $1,000 apart, and they were both. One was asking for 5,000 in concessions. The other one was asking for 6,000 in concessions. The seller did not want to do any concessions. And so that was the first week it was on the market. And now here we have sat for 30 days. And we explained to them, you're competing with the new builds. Expect concessions. But for some reason, we could have had it sold.
yeah, if you're competing with new builds, this flooring and this wall paint and everything, that's not going to cut it.
Nope.
Not at all. So, but
They were
that's what
real
we're
lucky.
seeing in
And
Queen
we
Creek,
priced it.
Maricopa, and Buckeye. So
Yeah, we priced it appropriately for the different paints and the flooring. So it should have sold.
now here's this one's out in Tolleson, and you
Yes.
have that pending. How long did that take?
So we got creative with this one. So we're actually doing a lease purchase on this. It is a 7-bedroom home. It was originally a 5-bedroom home. The owner bought it. Again, another one of those situations. Pretty much every listing we have, it's a have to sell for one reason or another. So this gentleman, he got transferred out of state. He had bought it to run one of those sober livings, and the company he was going to run the sober living for shut down, and he took another job and then was transferred to Tennessee. He had a $3,600 a month payment, and so we actually did a lease purchase on this for 4 months, and then it'll close in January.
And this is your big one now. Out in Rio Verde, this is not really trying to sell something out there in summertime is always tough, but this one looks like
Right.
been sitting there for a while too. Um,
Yes. So we went on in the summertime with this. Activity is picking up now. We do have some potential interest in it. Nice house, sitting on the golf course, has a private pool, and it's heated. Just a really nice place. Now, I do feel like she should have updated the appliances because the rest of the kitchen is all updated, and those appliances have kind of thrown people off a little bit. But we went on during the summertime, knowing we went on during the summertime, and now all the snowbirds are coming back, and so I expect we'll probably get a sale on it here in the next 30 days.
So you're not really seeing that. Um, you're still seeing that if you're priced right and everything, it's going to move. But
Depending on the area.
you also have to pay attention to, and I shared this just the other day. You really have to come to terms with how many people are giving away concessions right now.
Mhm.
I see seller pay
Absolutely.
closing costs. So you can't fold your arms on that number because here's where it is. Here's 42% of the homes on the market are being sold with the seller paid closing costs. Some form of concession, either a rate buy down or new carpet or whatever. But and again, that depends on the areas, and we see more of
Yeah,
that out in places like Maricopa. I mean, because think about
right.
that. Now, if you're in Maricopa and you're looking for homes, you know that you can go to a new build and they're going to be throwing everything at you but the kitchen sink. So if you're listing
Absolutely.
your home, that's what you're competing with. You
Yeah.
might be really proud of your dining area, but
Mhm.
and so if you are listing, I think you should go tour new homes before you list your home.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely you want to take a look at what's pending and under contract if you can get into it too. So we also have another listing that's going to be coming soon tonight. That's in North Phoenix. And when I looked at the comps on that and what's under, so there's only one other home active on the market in that area. It's Moon Valley. But it's not the custom Moon Valley. It's those little communities around Moon Valley. That's part of Moon Valley. So it's a little planned unit development, but still single family. The average days on market right now there are 10 days. So if you price right and the house shows good, I told this seller we'll sell it probably within the first week.
So as you're seeing the headlines about the party's over for sellers and price reductions are everywhere, the bottom line is that's not entirely true.
No,
it is softening. I think January is not going to be as brisk as people think it might be for the people that are waiting. I'm going to wait till January, first of the year. I'm putting it on. I think you're going to be disappointed. Um, Now, November, December are always slow. So just don't expect January to be bigger and more productive than December. I think
I
we're
think
going to
it could hurt you. I
muddle
think it
through this.
could
Yeah.
actually hurt you if you list in January because even in a normal market, when we had normal markets, November and December is always the best time to buy a house. And so you always see a little tick down in prices, anyways, because sellers, if they're on the market, they're super motivated and they need to get the house sold. And so buyers, that is, I always tell all my buyers it's the best time to look because it's the best time to get a seller to negotiate with you. And so if you look every year, you do see a dip in prices in November and December. And if you wait till January, now you see across the board, that doesn't mean if your house is priced right and shows well that you're going to take a dip, but across the board, you're going to see a dip when January comes, which could affect appraisals. So if I was thinking about selling, I'd probably go on the market right now. I think you've got about 3 or 4 weeks to really hit it hard and you can still capture, the improvement in price that we had this year.
Yeah, I think so too. And I also saw a statistic that said that the percentage of homes that are falling out of contract has spiked up quite a bit. But when I look at
Sure.
our numbers, I'm not seeing that. That shows up as back on market. And we're running about 600 homes. We were running about 900 homes. So it came
Yeah.
down. So I'm not seeing that. But again, real estate is all regional. So, well, Jackie, thanks for joining me today. And um, go Diamondbacks at this recording. I'm not sure what day this is going to play, but at this recording, we are headed into Game 7. This will be showing after that. So we're either going to be in the World Series or not. We will know after today. So
hit the like and subscribe and they'll win tonight, right?
that's right. If you hit the like button, that's why they won the game last night.
There you
People
go.
hit the like button. There is so much power in that YouTube like button. I
Uh,
just can't state it enough. If you're home and you're tired, you hit the like button, you feel better about yourself. It's a rush of adrenaline. So it's almost like a good cup of coffee.
there
So,
you go.
all right. Take care, Jackie. See ya.
Thanks, Rick. Bye.